Hello and welcome to the agenda. I am Ajay Kaul. Today we will discuss how the Biden administration would be for India, good or bad. Joe Biden is set to assume the presidency of the US in about 2 months. His administration will definitely be different from that of the Trump administration, which was considered tough and hardliner. Since the US is the only superpower right now, the whole world is impacted by the administration it has. We in India are also keen to know what kind of policies the Biden administration will adopt and apply, particularly on issues like cross-border terrorism emanating from Pakistan and China's growing aggression. So in the agenda today, we will try to analyze what could be in store. We have with us retired diplomat ambassador Dr. Deepak Vora and retired Lieutenant General Rameshwar Roy. But before we begin our conversation, let's have a look at this small report.
In about 2 months, that is January 2021, Joseph Biden will assume the presidency of the United States, the most powerful country in the world. He will be the 46th president to occupy the White House. Biden was declared winner over incumbent Donald Trump in the just concluded elections, which was a bitter contest and entailed the controversially long process of counting of votes. The controversy, in fact, still persists, with Trump not ready to accept that he has lost the elections, perhaps unprecedented in the American history. Trump is claiming that there were a lot of illegal votes which should not have been counted. He has even threatened to take legal recourse in a bid to validate his claim. However, it is unlikely that Trump's action would come in the way of Biden assuming the presidency. Interestingly, it is not only the people of America who have been closely following the developments related to the US elections, but the entire world has been keenly watching what the result would yield. It is because each country wants to know how it would be impacted by the change of the government in Washington, since the US is the only superpower and has immense influence on how the world functions. India too has been watching closely, particularly since the change of regime in Washington is taking place at a time when a belligerent China has launched aggression at the Ladakh border. India also needs to see what approach the Biden administration would adopt with regard to Pakistan, particularly on the issue of cross-border terrorism directed against India. There are also a number of other aspects of the US administration which have a bearing on India. So it needs to be seen how good or bad the next US administration would be for India. Bureau Report.
Now let's welcome our guests, Ambassador Vora and Lieutenant General Rameshwar Roy to the program. Welcome to the program, sirs. So my first question is to Dr. Vora, who is in USA, still camping there, even after Biden has been chosen as the president. So please tell us, will the Biden administration be good or bad for India?
Thank you, Mr. Cole. Always a pleasure to be on your program, to interact with you and to learn from you, and also to General Roy, sir. Delighted to interact with you. Well, as you know, I'm sitting in the United States in New York, and what you see behind me is the season of fall, when the leaves are changing color. In many ways, this reflects what is happening in the United States. Will he be good or bad for India? So let me put it across to you very simply. The United States needs India. India needs the United States, because today, world enemy number one is a country you've heard of. It's called China. And after unleashing the virus, it is confirmed that China cannot be trusted. 9/11 was a defining moment in America when Islam and Islamic terrorism was public enemy number one. Today it's number two on the list. China is number one. Joe Biden has promised to be very tough on China, sir. You might recall that there were rumors floating around about his son, Hunter Biden, having dealings with some sleazy Chinese companies. So he will make sure that allegation is not repeated. China is in for a very difficult time because the whole world is now against them, and America will take its rightful place in leading this anti-China partnership. I don't call it an alliance, but for all practical purposes, the world is in an unwritten treaty, if I may say so, or alliance against China. And China has to behave, sir. This is the feeling across the board. When I went out in New York, sir, 2 nights ago, as soon as the news channels, the major channels, including Fox News, which is very pro-Trump, CNN, MSNBC, they declared that Joe Biden was going to be the next president. People came out on rooftops. It was madness. People were celebrating, dancing, crying, hugging each other. And amongst that, I also saw placards that said, "Teach China a lesson." That says it all, sir.
Okay, China is a major factor. General Roy, do you agree with what Ambassador Vora said?
Ajay, let me put it this way that Ambassador Deepak Vora has really laid out a very beautiful canvas in very brief as to what the future could look like. I would only like to say that as far as the relationships of nations and change of presidency are concerned, they move a little away from the political rhetoric go on prior to the elections. So, from that point of view, I would like to say that in any case, US-India relations have been picking up ever since the present dispensation has been there in India. Even prior to that, we have been very favorably disposed towards US. If you recollect, 2007-8, we had this quadrilateral security dialogue which had been spoken of, and this got reactivated in 2017. This is basically aiming at the Indo-Pacific region. This name again has been initiated or given by the USA, calling it Indo-Pacific rather than Asia-Pacific region. So from that point of view, this cooperation which has come up, quadrilateral security dialogue, as we can put it, between US, India, Australia, and Japan. As you have seen that recent Malabar exercise, Australia was never used to be invited earlier, but this time it has participated. So that is one major area where the cooperation is likely to go even further. Basically, because all these four nations of the Quad, they want a rule-based order in Indo-Pacific region. The second major issue is the cooperation between arms and equipment as far as the USA is concerned. And this again is likely to look up. If you recollect, quite recently we had the agreement about M777 ultralight howitzers. We also had the agreement regarding the assault rifles, nearly numbering about 72,400. And there was also a news that around 20,000 sets of extreme winter clothing has also been imported from USA. So going by all these indications, I think the as far as the defense cooperation is concerned with USA, with an eye on business as well, is likely to see a very quantum jump, particularly in view of the India-China standoff in Ladakh. So I would go along with the Fora that as far as the relationship between the US and India are concerned, this part of the globe, USA is looking at India as the only country which can withstand the we only have a lot of positivity regarding the relationship between India and US in all spheres, and particularly as far as the defense and security agreements are concerned. It's only going to look up in times to come even more closely and strongly. That is what I would say.
General Roy, since you mentioned about Quad, so Quad, I think A little bit maybe different because see, Quad was initially it was launched in 2007, and Shinzo Abe was the prime mover, and then it was in cold storage for all these years. Then 2017 it was again activated, and Shinzo Abe was still the prime mover, and of course Donald Trump was also giving a big push because of China factor. So right now Shinzo Abe is not there. Trump, who was giving a big push, is no more there, and Biden is supposed to be not as hardliner or as going all out. So do you think that will have an impact?
No, Ajay, you see, the point is these are very far-reaching strategic dialogues, and therefore they do not have much impact on this change of leadership between the nations. In any case, Mr. Truga, who has taken over from Shinzo Abe, has already said that whatever policies were in vogue, and he was like a right-hand man of Shinzo Abe, so he'll continue with those policies. And as far as the USA is concerned, which has no other option in this part of the globe, it has to back on India because India is the only country with a growing economy and the size of our size, which indicates an all-round growth, is the only one which can match China in this part of this particular area. So actually, there are no options. So strategically speaking, nothing much is going to change regardless of who is in the chair in the leadership in these countries, and that's why I said that Mr. Deepak Vora has also brought it out very beautifully right in the beginning, that this particular issues are going to look up no matter who comes. I mean, Joe Biden also will have no option, and he's already said so. The only thing that I will talk about it a little later is regarding our cross-border terrorism.
Yeah, I'm coming to that after. Yeah,
and certain human rights related issues,
right,
which, where we could go under pressure, but that's entirely a different spectrum and nothing much to do with as far as the India-China standoff in the North is concerned, or the relationship in the Indo-Pacific cooperation is concerned. So that is not likely to change at all.
Okay, I think Ambassador Vora wants to say something before I ask him another question. Ambassador Vora?
Yeah. I just wanted to put it across. Can you hear me?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, please.
All right. I just wanted to say that what General Roy has said is bang on, spot on. I couldn't put it better. Absolutely right. Sir, the momentum in our bilateral relationship is now so strong that neither Mr. Biden or anybody else can reverse it. Let me very quickly, since I am a historian by training and an economist by profession, let me just put it to you very clearly. When we became independent in 1947, Roy Saab might remember, General might remember this, you were not even born, neither was I. But India did not matter to America. America's attention was on rebuilding Europe and on containing the Soviet Union. When Germany was involved or incorporated into NATO, then all that was left was the Soviet Union. That continued till 1991, till the Soviet Union collapsed. Thereafter, sir, the whole business of, you remember that Y2K phenomenon, etc., that came about with computers having 2-digit codes and so on.
You too.
And they realized the only brain in the world that could deal with it was the Indian brain. The H-1B visa was basically invented to enable Indian techies, particularly from the Hyderabad region, to come to the United States. 50,000 a year. More than half of the H-1B visas were given to Indians. Then came 9/11, sir, when suddenly America had another enemy, which is Islamic terrorism. Now that too has gone. It has been replaced because they have destroyed ISIS, etc. It has been replaced by China. The only country in the world, as the General has said, that can actually give China a tight slap on its face, as we have done in Galwa, is India. The Americans understand this. The H-1B visa process continues. Indians are coming in. They will come in. Of course, we would like to come in greater numbers. Why do we want to come in here? So let me put it very bluntly to you, sir. From one of the poorest countries in the world, after immigration was opened to the United States in 1965, one of the poorest countries in per capita terms in the world was India. And then our people came here and literally struck gold. They became the richest community here. The Americans understand this, they appreciate this. We are law abiding, and they also have seen the strength of our military. They saw it in 1999, and they have seen it now in 2020. So they know which side their bread is buttered. Now, who needs whom more, you can discuss till the cows come home. But I do not see any reversal of the growing partnership between India and the United States. We are the two largest democracies in the world, the oldest and the largest, so to speak, and it has to be nothing other than ensuring that freedom and dignity of mankind, of the human race, is maintained by these two countries. Sir, make no mistake about it. Emma Lazarus, whose poem is at the base of the Statue of Liberty, right? Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free. Because send these people to me, I lift my lamp beside the golden door. What does the human spirit want? It wants freedom to evolve. The mind wants the freedom to develop. You don't get that in China. You get it in the United States, and you get it in India. We are natural allies. There were hiccups in our relationship, but now the direction we are taking, sir, no one can reverse.
Ambassador Vora, you talked about terrorism and you talked about ISIS has been finished. So, talking from the perspective of India, we are more bothered about terrorism emanating from Pakistan and directed against us rather than ISIS. So, Biden, I think, I mean, so far there are impressions that he has been he has a pro Pakistan tilt or may not as tough on Pakistan on the issue of terrorism. What is your view?
There is no question about it, sir. Remember that Mr. Biden is a person who lost his young wife and a young daughter in a car accident. He lost a son to cancer. He knows, sir, he was around in 9/11. Please read his statements at that time that America's pride and glory has been attacked. We have to teach them a lesson. And sir, one of his closest friends at that time said publicly that these people who dared to challenge
No,
United States,
Ambassador,
God did, but sir, let me complete.
no, if I may interrupt, you are referring to 9/11. 9/11 was a handiwork of Al Qaeda. We are talking, I mean, we are concerned more about Lashkar-e-Toibas and Jaish-e-Mohammed's, which may not be their concern.
Nobody makes a distinction here between ISIS and Al Qaeda or the Ansar-Din, etc. As far as they are concerned, it's Islamic terrorism. America's position is very clear, sir, as it was made clear to Musharraf. If you are not with us, you are against us. This is the American feeling, and India is on their side. Terrorism hurts us. But who told you that Joe Biden is going to be soft on terrorism? He has seen what terrorism has done to his country. He has made statements against cross-border terrorism, sir. There is every reason to believe him. He will do it. He will not be a transactional president as Donald Trump was. He's going to be a president of all Americans, as he has said. And they want their country safe. They want to root out terrorism from the world. And the biggest economic terrorist, I think the terrorist in terms of violence, of course, remains Islamic terrorism. But the biggest economic terrorism, or today, biological terrorism that they're seeing, comes from China. These are their two biggest enemies. So what is the question of India-America relations weakening?
But General Roy wants to say something on
history. It's the inexorable the thrust of history that they have to come together. Am I right, General Roy?
General Roy wants to say something on it.
Ajay, the things have moved too far away from 9/11, while that can just be a reference point.
Yeah.
If you really see that 9/11 and intervention of Americans backed up by the International Security Assistance Force in Afghanistan, which is now
leaving,
over a decade old.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, the point here is that the American leadership has always been under pressure to de-link their troops and to de-induct from Afghanistan.
Right.
Now that has been always a challenge as far as India and the terrorist activities across from emanating from Pakistan in J&K is concerned. I'll not call it in India, it is in J&K.
Right.
Now the problem here is that the Americans going away, Americans already have gone in for accepting the fact that if Taliban can de-link itself from Al-Qaeda, They are willing to accept Taliban as one of the partners for peace in Afghanistan.
They have already
But
accepted
that
them.
is not going to happen so soon.
They have already
And
accepted Taliban as a
now, if you
partner.
really ask me, Ajay, if you really ask me now,
Yeah.
the terrorism emanating from Pakistan, the way it has been backed up by China in the recent past, by letting off the hook all these terrorists from the UN sanction list, including what is happening in the, the economic sanctions, which are again not seeing their progress anywhere. I would say that the factor of Pakistan terrorists operating in India at cross border is more of a concern or more of a issue with China. It is not going to be much of an issue now with the USA, because if you see in the recent past also, US has realized that it cannot reign in Pakistan as far as the terrorist activities of Pakistan against India are concerned. And China, in any case, the way it has now come up very proactively in Ladakh, it has got interest in keeping India engaged on two fronts. So I would only say that this winter, as well as coming summer and years to come, the terrorist activities from Pakistan is likely to go up in Jammu and Kashmir, particularly in the Kashmir Rally.
Right.
And in that, I will not discount a possibility of now Al Qaeda. This is not a spent force as yet. If you really look at the recent happenings which have taken place in France and Sweden, I think Vienna, was it Vienna?
Vienna, yeah.
Yeah, so when we look at that, I will see that as a concept or as a agenda. ISIS is not yet lost on the world map.
Right.
So I only hope that those kind of activities do not find their way into Jammu and Kashmir, and there again, I would say that those elements also have operated where the almost like the way the security mechanisms are very weak. India is not such a state, and therefore for them to operate in India in the same manner that they have elsewhere is not going to be a possibility. But yes, the terrorist activities emanating from Pakistan in India now is going to be an issue to be, which will be propped up by China and not by USA. So that
No, why?
issue has
No,
been rising now.
why I mentioned is Biden, how he will deal with Pakistan, which is exporting terrorism. That is the issue, because see, Trump administration wanted de-indexion from Afghanistan, and now they have almost handed it over to Taliban. So Taliban is a good boy now. So that is also a matter of concern for India. So how Biden administration will deal with the whole entire issue, which is interlinked. Afghanistan issue and Kashmir.
No, I don't think they're going to change their stance. Whatever Trump has started, American troops will withdraw from Afghanistan, and their withdrawal is giving more space now to China and Pakistan to handle Afghanistan.
Right.
And particularly the China-Pakistan economic corridor that China is interested in which it wants to keep Afghanistan and other Central Asian republics also as partners, and to use this particular corridor to export goods and material to ports of Karachi and Doha. I think now let this issue, it has given more space to China to operate in this area. Therefore, in some ways, Americans have given out this particular geostrategic location to great extent, and that could be another bigger reason as to why now they want to anchor with India. Because then, if they are not banking in Pakistan, as was the case in the past, right since 1962, Chinese invasion of India until recent past, I don't think that as far as this region is concerned, Americans will now like to have more and more alliances and more cooperation and more agreement with India. Also, like Ambassador said, that they are the natural allies in the democracy. And another thing which is taking place in the recent past is the democracies have come under pressure as far as the performance as a nation is concerned. Xi Jinping has tried to bring in and show that the Chinese way of doing things is more efficient and faster. So therefore, the pressure which has been there with the democracy, I think with the Biden return and the Biden convincing he is likely to do. Maybe that that fallacy which came in between for a while is likely to be over, and two democratic nations, India the largest democracy and US having natural allies. I think they put together, this region is going to look up as far as the cooperation is concerned in all fields, not only defense cooperation, but all kinds of defense, economic, climate.
General Roy, we are running out of time. I think Ambassador Vora wants to say something briefly.
I just wanted to say, sir, when the Soviet Union collapsed, 9 out of 10 people in the world were delighted, including many in the Soviet Union, that the Soviet Union had collapsed and not the United States. As Joe Biden has said, sir, America is the beacon of the world. America never gives up. America never gives in, and neither does India. The Americans understand this. This partnership, which Barack Obama had said is a defining partnership of the 21st century, the new administration will make sure that it will be the most important in human history. Sir, sitting in America, I have a very clear view about this.
So we are all hopeful about the Biden administration. Maybe we can have a discussion at another point of time. But thank you today for participating in this debate.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
This is all in the agenda today. Thanks for watching. I'll be back with another important topic tomorrow. Till then, goodbye.